What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of All Around Athlete. I thought we'd start off this week with just some hot topic things that have happened in sports over the weekend. We had the NBA All-Star Game happen this weekend, and then we also had Bryson DeChambeau win the Arnold Palmer Invitational this weekend, and it started raising a lot of thoughts about innovation and changing the game. And I kind of wanted to start off this week with that thought. What does it mean to innovate and change your game? And if we're just meeting, hey, what's up? My name's Hunter. I started All Around Athlete to help everyday athletes just like you get better at sports. And I kind of wanted to dive into this topic a little bit. What does it mean to be a game changer? To innovate your sport? All throughout sports, we've had people drive the game forward in an ever-progressing, ever-moving world. To be an innovator means to drive your craft, your game forward. I think about guys like Michael Jordan, obviously an innovator when it came to basketball. Football, I think of guys like Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, guys like Peyton Manning, one of the first ones to really call plays from the line of scrimmage. Brady, we're going to talk about him a little bit later. If we shift over to something like to golf, obviously you can't help but think of Tiger moving a game forward, potentially one of the most innovative athletes across any sport in history. Baseball, you think back to guys like, obviously Babe Ruth, maybe one of the most famous players ever. I think about guys like Ken Griffey Jr., A-Rod, Jeter. Those were definitely my generation of guys that inspired me and kind of moved the game forward. And I kind of wanted to dive into that a little bit because as you innovate the game, there's always going to be people from previous generations who are going to have critique, who are going to say, yeah, I mean, they're great and stuff, but there's a way that this is done, and they're not conforming anymore. And I kind of wanted to dive into that because to be a game changer, to be an innovator means that you aren't playing by the same rules. You are progressing. In a way, you are a pioneer. And whether that's a good thing or not, it is moving things forward. I mean, look at football right now. We got guys like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. I'm even thinking of Tom Brady. Brady has reimagined the way to play quarterback into your later years. I mean, he just won a Super Bowl and I think he's 42 right now. That is insane. Insane. He's been in the league 21 years. I think back to guys like Michael Vick, really one of the first successful dual threat quarterbacks, one of the most athletic guys in the field that was also a quarterback. People like Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, a little bit of Baker Mayfield as well. Guys are able to stand on the shoulders of people who have gone before them. That's the beauty of innovation. It helps move the game forward. And thinking back to this weekend, we had the NBA All-Star Game. Talk about a game that is moving forward. I mean, even this last year with COVID-19 and all of the struggles and changes that needed to be made so that we would still have basketball. I mean, basketball's ability to innovate and change on the fly so that we would still have games was just amazing. Sure, we wish that fans would be there, but we still had basketball, we still had playoffs, and we still had the NBA Finals that LeBron and the Lakers ended up taking. But, I think back to how the game is played specifically. The three ball is king right now. And not only the three ball, the really long three ball. I mean, if you watched the NBA All-Star Game yesterday, Damian Lillard and Steph Curry were literally pulling up from half court. And for those of you that play basketball, you understand just how crazy that is, and to do it with good form. I mean, the game has completely changed. Shooting coaches around the world are in agreement that the mid-range jump shot is essentially obsolete now. There are very few times that players are taking mid-range 2-point jumpers. Everything from defensive schematics to offensive strategy is moving towards making threes. And so you have to wonder, is this good for the game? Is it good? I think it is. I would say that it is paving the way for undersized players, maybe someone who's not as gifted with their size or athleticism, like a LeBron, like a Giannis, like a Joel Embiid, these big guys. It's paving the way for people like the Steph Currys, like the Trae Youngs, like the Damian Lillards, guys that are not maybe as blessed physically, but can still make big-time impacts and even make runs at MVPs and make serious impacts in the league by driving the game forward. I mean, even with how these guys are within range, the minute they step over the half court, you almost wonder if they should start instituting a 4-point line out on the court or not. I mean, it's really starting to raise a lot of questions. And I mean, in my opinion, I think it's great for the game. If you feel like you can make it, let her fly. Shooters are always going to shoot. It's funny though, because every time I see them pull up from deep, I always think about when my dad was coaching me when I was younger, and I would, heave something from my hip, and he'd be like, "That's not a game time. That's not a game time shot. What are you doing? That's not a game time shot. Don't shoot it." Game-like shots only. And so, I think about the impact that it's even having on the youth sport right now. Guys like LaMelo Ball, Lonzo Ball, guys that have seen guys like Curry and others that are shooting from long range, really impacting the game, and now they're in the league doing the same thing as well. Pretty amazing to watch. And also what happened this weekend was Bryson DeChambeau won the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And for those of you that may not be into golf, this was significant. Sure, you might think that's just another golf tournament that my dad watched on a Sunday while, he took a nap. But this was significant yesterday. The Arnold Palmer Invitational is at a course called Bay Hill. Okay, and the hole number 6, you'll see it up on the screen, hopefully, is a par 5. I think it's roughly around 500 yards or something like that. And there's a huge lake. There's a huge lake on the left side of the hole. And normally players elect to cut off about half of the hole so that, they would carry it over the water and they would make it to the fairway, roughly about, maybe a 300-yard drive. Now, if you aim directly at the hole, normally if you were to go around the lake, it would be about 500 yards. If you were to go directly at the hole, it would be about a 340-yard carry in the air. And, players all throughout recent history, guys like John Daly, I think Tiger even made a crack at it back in the day, tried to drive the green on a direct line, but no one's been able to do it until this weekend. Bryson DeChambeau was able to carry the lake. He hit a 370-yard drive on Saturday in competition. This wasn't a practice round. This actually happened. And he takes a swing, it's airborne, the crowd is going crazy. He's pushing for the ball to go forward. It's essentially like a long drive competition. It was absolutely awesome. And, Bryson's always had a flair for the dramatic. He's a little bit of an unorthodox player. He plays the game a different way. I mean, he was a physics major in school. He was the first guy to cut down each one of his clubs to the exact same length. I mean, literally, driver through wedge is the same size as a 6-iron. He's one of the first guys ever to do something like that. A very calculated guy. He reads putts with a protractor. I mean, this guy's different. He goes about things differently. And, there's been controversy over this guy, and people have started to ask, is he bad for the game? Is Bryson DeChambeau bad for the game because he's essentially bringing the world of long drive into the PGA Tour. Why is that bad? I mean, we've heard it said before, chicks dig the long ball. I mean, if you can hit it far, then hit it far, man. In my experience, the people that are oftentimes hating on a game like Bryson's are the people that can't hit it far in the first place. I mean, at the end of the day, golf is a beautiful game because it doesn't matter where you hit it. You still have to get it in the hole. Bryson won the U.S. Open this last year, playing a very similar style of golf that he played this last week in the Arnold Palmer Invitational. But he still had to chip and he still had to putt. He still had to get it in the hole. And with the excitement that he's able to generate, I mean, not only did it seem like a long drive competition in a PGA Tour event, but it almost was Happy Gilmore-esque. The way that he was able to generate excitement and buzz around, for the majority of the world, a middle-of-the-pack golf tournament. For those like me who love golf no matter what, I'm a big fan of the Arnold Palmer Invitational. I'm a big fan of the history. It got buzz stirring around golf again. And, with things that have transpired recently with Tiger, of course, I'm wishing him a speedy recovery. Golf needs Tiger back. But Tiger's also in his mid-40s. We are going to need a new juggernaut in golf. And if someone like Bryson can move the needle the way that he does by bulking up, drinking however many protein shakes that he does, and hits the ball further to garner a bigger audience for the PGA Tour, I am all for it, man. I am all for someone like that to help drive the game forward. And so, yes, is he bad for golf? I would probably say yes, but hold on. It's because his initials are BAD. If you look at his scorecard in his back pocket, he is in fact the bad man in golf right now. I'm a big fan of what he's doing to the game, and he is moving it forward. And speaking of which, a game that needs radical innovation right now is baseball. America's pastime is quickly in danger of becoming a thing of the past. More than ever right now, I feel like baseball is in need of some change. It is losing the battle for attention amongst the world's biggest sports right now, basketball and football. And I would argue golf is taking up more of the attention than baseball right now. I mean, baseball, the critique behind it is that it's slow, the season is too long. There's too many things going on. It's slow paced. We have to turn up the volume for baseball and bring it into modern day. Even from a marketing standpoint, there's not a good enough connection between the fans and the stars of baseball today. I feel like every other sport, you ask a random person on the street who their favorite football, basketball, or even golfer is, that they're gonna throw some names at you. Other than maybe Mike Trout. And unless you're a diehard team for your home, your team from home, you might be able to name a couple guys on your team. I'm one of the biggest baseball fans out there. I can't tell you that many players. The baseball needs to leverage their stars into a more strategic position to connect with a younger audience right now. And sure, they have tried some things. They've entertained potentially having a pitch count when runners aren't on base, no shifts, and they've also entertained an alternate inning setup in extra innings where they put a runner on second base to try to get the game moving forward. They've entertained having a designated hitter in the National League, removing pitchers from having to hit. They've tried some things. But man, they got to do a better job because baseball is on its way out from from the excitement of sports. And it's really unfortunate because baseball is a beautiful thing, a beautiful game of America's pastime, and it's something that you can watch from generation to generation. But it is definitely in need of change. And yeah, those are just some thoughts on innovation. And I wanted to ask you guys, what's a way that you could innovate in your life, in the sport that you play? What are some things that maybe you could change up? One of my favorite sayings is "swing your swing." It's actually one of my wallpapers right here. Swing your swing, and I like to live by that saying because no matter what you do, you've got to play the game your way. But what are some ways that you could live your life, play your sport, go to work in a way that might innovate the status quo, drive your performance forward, dare to be great in everything you do? I think we live in a great time right now where there are many examples in pop culture, in sports, of people moving the needle and pushing us forward. And I just want to encourage you guys that if you're in the game right now, if you're in your environment, you have the ability to make change and move your environment forward. Hope you guys have a great week. I wanted to also, if you haven't checked out my latest upload, for me, I just put up a tag right there. This video has been a real catalyst for our page. Sure, the title is a little strange, field every ground ball or get popped with paintballs. But for me, this is a culmination of bringing sports and art together. It features two brand new animated characters. We explore what it's like to practice with pressure. How do you simulate the pressure of a game in practice? Well, you got to practice with pressure. We're kind of imagining what it would be like to practice with that same intensity that you feel in a game. If that interests you, check out that video right there. It's a lot of fun. It's really exciting. And yeah, stoked you guys are on the journey with me. We'll see you guys next time on All Around Athlete.